Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story that I want to share with you, but before I share it, I want to share a personal story with you. My son works for one of the major banks here in America, and from time to time we have a conversation. He kind of gives me an idea of what's happening with the banking industry. And in his particular department, he's a analyst. I'll just say that. He told me they just had a second round of layoffs. He was not laid off, but his department has been hit twice, like within the last say 3 months. Additionally, he's been talking about how much money people have been withdrawing from the banking system, large deposits of money. And, he's talking about all the fraud. And he said it almost seems as though, and this was his thought, he said it just seems like it's an inside job, like something is not right. Because he said, his part of his job is he's responsible for investigating fraud. And, he said things are happening like somebody will come in and deposit a check for $6,000, and the tellers are supposed to, verify ID, verify the check, so on and so forth. And, he said the money will be deposited, and as soon as it's clear, like within a day or two, whoever deposited the money, somebody else just comes in, withdraws the money with some fake ID, or the ID wasn't checked or verified or whatever. And then, people are having their money taken. And the banks are suffering huge losses because tellers are basically, are teaching people how to steal money out of the bank, or helping, to get other people's money out of the bank. And so the bank has to replace that money. And so they're having huge losses, but they're not doing anything about it. He said, the tellers are not being terminated. The money is being replaced. Just a lot of things are happening in the banking system. He said it's just so strange. He said I've never seen anything like this before. He said and the tellers are making mistakes that, he started out as a branch teller right out of college and moved his way up. So it's just things that we would never ever do. Just simple, obvious things. And he said it just seems like it's a setup. And the other thing he was talking about is like a lot of people are leaving the country. A lot of people are taking their money and they're leaving America. Um, a lot of white people, of course, but also a lot of immigrants, people who have dual citizenship. It's a quiet exiting happening. And, he was like, you know something is going to happen. We just don't know when, but you can tell by the movements of other groups that something is going on. The last thing he told me was, well, I won't say that. I'm not going to say that part. I'm going to just leave that story there. I will tell you about it, but I won't tell you about it in this particular video. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you a story that came out on the 24th from CNBC that says nearly 100 billion in deposits pulled from banks, but officials are still calling the system sound and resilient. Federal Reserve data showed that bank customers collectively pulled 98.4 billion from accounts for the week ended March 15th, as Silicon Valley and Signature Bank failed. Officials at the Financial Stability Oversight Council meeting in a closed session Friday insisted the system remains sound and resilient. Regulators again assured the public that the banking system is safe, and a fresh data showed customers recently pulled nearly 100 billion in deposits. Remember when they say peace and safety, what happens? Okay. Anytime I see the words safe or peace, you know, I my eyebrows go up. So anyway, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and more than a dozen other officials convened a special closed meeting of the Financial Stability Oversight Council on Friday. A readout from the session indicated that a New York Fed staff member briefed the group on market developments. The council discussed current conditions in the banking sector and noted that while some institutions have come under stress, the banking system remains sound and resilient, the statement said. The council also discussed ongoing efforts at member agencies to monitor financial developments. There were no other details provided on the meeting. The readout, released shortly after the market closed Friday, came around the same time as new Fed data showed that bank customers collectively pulled 98.4 billion from accounts for the week ended March 15th. That would have covered the period when the sudden failures of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank rocked the industry. Data show that the bulk of the money came from small banks. Large institutions saw deposits increase by 67 billion, while smaller banks saw outflows of 120 billion. The withdrawals brought total deposits down to just over 17.5 trillion and represented about a 0.6% of the total. Deposits have been on a steady decline over the past year or so because people don't trust these banks, falling 582.4 billion since February 2022, according to seasonally adjusted Fed data released Friday. Money market funds have seen assets rise over the past 2 weeks, up 238 billion to 513 trillion, according to investment company Institute data through March 22nd. Earlier this week, Powell also sought to assure the public that the banking system is safe. You've seen that we have the tools to protect depositors when there's a threat of serious harm to the economy or the financial system, and we're prepared to use those tools, Powell said Wednesday during a news conference that followed the Fed's decision to hike benchmark interest rates another quarter percentage. And I think depositors should assume that their deposits are safe. So that, notice they say you should assume. They didn't say they are. Powell noted that deposit flows have stabilized over the past week following what he called powerful actions from the Fed to backstop the system. Banks have been flocking to emergency lending facilities set up after the failures of SVB and Signature. Data released Thursday showed that institutions took a daily average of 116.1 billion of loans from the central bank's discount window, the highest since the financial crisis, and have taken out 53.7 billion from the banking term funding program. So people are taking the money out the bank, y'all. That can't be good. And they're leaving, which means that money is not going to be put into this economy. So it won't be taxed, and there's less money that this nation will have to run. So again, use this as a data point, not to be fearful, but just to understand what is happening. They're saying one thing, and then doing another thing. And we can't pretend like everything is fine because it's not. So use this information to continue to prep and plan for what's coming. Nobody knows when it's going to happen, but you just want to be ready. Another thing that I want to mention, and I'll talk about it in another separate video, is that I've read in some places that people who are believers are being locked out of their clouds. So if you can, please try to get external drives to get your information off of any cloud sources, whether it's free or paid. Get your stuff, put it on, any type of thumb drive or SD cards or whatever you need to use, especially your pictures and your documents, et cetera, because once they lock you out, you won't be able to get back into that stuff. And I know, for myself, I have a lot of really important documents that I might be able to use and pictures, et cetera, et cetera. So have those things in your possession and work on getting things out of the cloud quickly. All right, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to my Odyssey and Rumble channels in the event this thing goes down. Please consider following me on YouTube. I'm sorry, not on YouTube, on Instagram and on Facebook. And make sure the bell notification is turned on for all social media platforms that you follow me on, so that when I do post, um, you can get the notifications. Right now, this has been my primary since my Medium account went down. And I just haven't really been writing anything because I'm just censored everywhere. It doesn't matter where I put my stuff. I'm sure I'm on the list somewhere. So if you want to follow me here. All right, y'all, this is Marley K, and I am out.